So we have no delegations, so for approval, we have the regular council meeting minutes of June 7th.
Move. Second.
On approval, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. We have no committee reports, unfinished business under the manager report for receipts.
Move.
Second.
And on receipt then, all those in favor? Motion's carried. Questions, comments, or follow-up from council or staff? Councilor Swift.
Just wondering if there's any update with court dates or that kind of.
No, there's still an exchange of correspondence going on between our lawyer and the Attorney General's office. And we anticipate to get a response back in the next few weeks in terms of whether the file or the application that we've made is complete.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is receipt of the regional district meeting minutes for regional district board, hospital, and solid waste.
Move. Receipt.
On receipt then, all those in favor? Motion's carried. Any business or anything on those? Yes, go ahead.
I do have a question. Last night at the BIA meeting, there was some discussion about the parkade. Do we know if there's any structural issues with the parkade?
Hospital parking?
Yeah.
I believe there are some structural issues. I've done some work on it, but as far as status of it, anything you can tell us?
Anybody?
It's just being worked on.
So it's nothing.
It's not sinking.
Not insurmountable.
No, it's not
Okay.
insurmountable.
We made that inquiry the last
Right.
time we were together, and they assured us that it's,
Right.
because apparently there's been a rumor around town that it was sinking.
I've heard that,
Yeah,
Here,
and
see, there you are.
that's what I heard at the BIA meeting, and there was some.
And apparently that is not true. There have been
Okay.
some smaller problems, but it's typical cement work. apparently.
Right, and we're still looking at a fall opening of the hospital.
October 1st.
Right, okay. Yeah, I had told them, I thought it was sometime in September.
All right. So nothing further on the minutes, then we'll move, and we have no bylaws to consider, so we have now new business items. First of all, a report from staff on the proceeds of sewer apportionment settlement.
The recommendation on that.
The recommendation is that we transfer the proceeds from sewer apportionment settlement into the sewer utility reserve fund, and that staff be authorized to draft an amendment to the 2017-2021 financial plan, including that transaction. So that's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Councilor McKinnon? No. I didn't call the question.
He wants to get out of here.
I'm pleased with that.
All right, so seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. All right, then rezoning application RZ 17-4-2270 Mackenzie Avenue for consideration of first and second reading.
I'll move that.
Second that.
Okay, so moved and second, and this is to facilitate a coach house on the subject property. And of course, that will go through the public hearing process as soon as July 5th. So any further discussion at first and second reading?
Yeah, and you know, in principle, I do agree with these things. My concern as we move forward and housing becomes more of a challenge for people in the town that, and I know the town planner has looked into issues with Airbnbs and all that, and I think we need to be careful that we don't allow these and then they go to all Airbnbs, and that we provide housing for those of us in our community, for our young people. And I think that was the intent originally when we wanted to facilitate the quick movement of secondary suites and these kind of things. And I'm glad to see that the town is on with that and keeping an eye on that, because there's, you know, reading other communities, they're having a real issue with Airbnbs and how it's benefiting the owner, but it's not benefiting the community. So,
Yeah, certainly in the city of Victoria, they're struggling with that issue. Quite a few rental places are now no longer available for longer-term rental, especially in the downtown area. You know, I believe that some of the hoteliers in the Courtenay area have been asking that the city of Courtenay, for example, look at that issue. So it may come up here locally as well.
well, and I understand that Mayor Helps in Victoria is opening up her home to maybe Mayor Ives would like to open up his home. And,
We have a couple of
and help facilitate the problem. So. But I'm glad we are on top of that. It's an important thing
Street was asking if we had any objections to a secondary suite going in their house, and I said, no, that's fine, and that's a consideration, I suppose, happen in other neighborhoods. But, to my knowledge, they weren't going to operate an Airbnb.
Yeah.
They've hosted students in the past, of course, so it's a little different. And we do have, I guess, the attribute of both our secondary suite policy and the coach house policy is that owner occupation is required.
Right.
And in many cases, especially in Victoria, for Airbnb, there's no owner anywhere in sight. If somebody comes in and changes the linens, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I think that helps monitor to some extent. Anything else, CEO, to add to any of that?
No, at a staff level, we are working on some issues related to secondary suites. We have, we're noticing some that I guess we consider them still illegal according to the requirements we have in our rules and regs. So we're working on a report that will come forward to council probably this fall.
Anything else, Councillor?
I was just going to make a comment with regard to this rezoning. I was in speaking to Mike today, and he intends to live in his coach house as did, and the other.
Well, this is the application.
The application, yes.
All right, anything further, Councillor Kinnon?
Just to back up what Councillor Arnott says is that there's such a shortage of rental vacancies now in the valley. And 2 or 3 years ago, this council went for secondary suites, and there was some opposition to it, minor opposition, but I really believe it's confirmed this has been the right thing to do, and that your point is very well taken, that we need to take care of our own, our young families, and good on our town planners for proposing that, and good on council for passing that back. I think we made the right move then.
All right, so first and second reading then for consideration. All those in favor? Motion is carried. And then subsequent motion is, of course, to refer to a public hearing on July 5th at 6:30 in the council chambers.
Second that.
Staff will, of course, publish the requisite notices. There is no requirement for a development sign to be put on the property under our procedure bylaw. So all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. All right. Then we're to the item regarding Cambridge Road, illegal dumping, and letter from Rio Richards for referral to the Regional District for enforcement under their new illegal dumping prevention program.
I'll move the recommendation, and I'll second it too.
Whatever we do.
You guys just keep quiet. Ken and I.
We got this. So this is obviously a report to us to give some information as a result of the letter, and staff have looked into it obviously, and they feel that the best course of action is to go with the Regional Districts program, which seems to have had some impact. I know they have a lot of Facebook posts about that stuff, so maybe it's public shaming that helps them. I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, I agree with the recommendation that in fact we pass it to the CBRD and their illegal dumping. I did take a walk down there to have a look and just to see how bad it might be, and there were actually 2 dump areas. One area there had to be, according to the guy I was walking with, at least 5 truckloads of stuff, yard waste, that had been dumped there. And further down the road there was one very, very large one. So there is evidence of dumping, and also he mentioned in this letter that when trucks move fast around corners, they leave big ruts, and there was evidence of that as well. So he has a right to complain, there's no question. But I do approve, I think it's a good idea to test out this new system the CBRD has in place. Just as a heads up, I would like to, if it's possible, for us to know just exactly what the CBRD will do in this instance, if that can happen.
Sure. Okay.
I just have a question, and I don't know if you can help me with this. I did take a drive down there today. I only noticed one dump site, so I don't know if it's maybe getting cleaned up.
No, did you go right down to the end?
Yeah.
And where the gate goes parallel to the farm, there's a gate there, not the one directly in front, but to the side. There was another great huge dump there.
Okay. That was my question though. What I did notice was, obviously the broom buses that go through there, and there's brooms lying on the side of the road. Do they have any systematic way of collecting that up?
Normally, that's, the responsibility falls to the town to come through later and pick it up. It's just a matter of scheduling when we get to it.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so there is some,
Absolutely.
some
Yeah,
anticipation.
the two broom busters and the town work in cooperation as to identifying the areas and then picking up after.
Thank you.
Yeah, just Councillor Grant, your comment there about yard waste being dropped off, and I know I've mentioned this in the recent past, that John Watts will accept yard waste at his place by the airport there. $5, I mean, you can get rid of a lot of yard waste, and so it is a shame to have people dump right there when they can go around the corner and dump it and turn it into compost. So it's something that I don't think a lot of people know, but it is an option for those of us with large yards.
And
Put in our newsletter.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to say, having moved into an older property that was the garden very neglected, we've had a lot of yard waste. And we've had bins and bins and bins. And the guys that pick it up say good morning and they say goodbye and they take it all away, and it's absolutely no reason for anybody
It's easy to get rid of it,
illegal dumping. It's just been excellent service.
Well, we've had that history, as you know, and I think it's referred to in the report, of people dumping stuff at the gravel pit, the blocks we put in that area to try to stop that. We actually had a fire there once, not that long ago. So it's an ongoing issue, and I guess people's habits, and who knows where these people are coming from. They may not be town residents, for example. But maybe they're Courtney residents because they don't pick up yard waste.
There you go.
But hopefully with the organics program being expanded, that will help. But long story short is, hopefully the regional district can focus on that area. And it would appear that most of the dumping that's being done is more of a yard waste rather than garbage per se.
It seems.
Yeah, still, it's a problem that needs to be addressed for sure. All right, so that's been moved and seconded. We can vote on it? No. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried, and staff will get back to us on the response to the regional district. Okay, so that brings us to correspondence. A letter from Shaw TV, Mary Ruth Harris, requesting a letter of support for Shaw's license renewal with the CRTC with a sample letter attached.
And move receipt, that we grant them a letter of support.
Second that.
Any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. They certainly provide coverage of our meetings, and most recently participated in an interview. I know others have in the past of some of the community work, so they certainly have a good presence. I know they were involved in our nautical days at one point as a sponsor. All right, so moving second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried. And I see that is somewhat time sensitive, so try to get that letter open in the next couple of days here. Next piece of correspondence is from members of the Beaufort Avenue neighborhood, written in the handwriting of one Wendy Prothero. No her handwriting from previous letters.
So I move receipt that we refer this to our traffic safety.
Second.
Okay, so Traffic Safety Committee, do we have such a thing?
It's not really active. We if you refer it to staff for consideration, that's.
So we have an item now.
Well, we don't have a committee.
All right, how about if we change that and refer it to staff?
Okay. So refer it to staff for the report, essentially.
I'll second that.
I know this issue has been brought up before on several occasions, so had to provide us with some comments on it, but I think probably formally that's something that we can do. And as I drove down that road on the way to council here, and I can understand the concerns. Because we have other areas of town which also have requested traffic comments. Anyway, we'll see what staff has to say about it.
Your worship?
Yes.
Yes, just a quick comment too, in that we are going to have that report on traffic calming and traffic calming.
Yes, that's right. That's part of our management report, isn't it?
Yes, so maybe it could all be looked at within this context.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah, you know, how would we do it? It would be a good test case to look at that report through its lenses.
Sure. Yeah, of course, we do have the overall transportation study that was done a few years ago, guys.
Yeah, and as Mrs. Prothero mentions about the second house going in on that corner there where it's going to be subdivided, could be problematic. That in itself could be a traffic calming, but it's something that we definitely need to be cognizant of. And I would like to make mention of Mrs. Prothero's penmanship. It's very nice. I can read that. And, doesn't even need to be.
Can I make a comment? I can't get away with thing anymore in this town.
No, you can't.
I'm going to have to send it.
You have to start taking.
Print it. Yeah.
All right. So with that, move to refer to staff. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. And then the last piece of correspondence as referenced is the letter from Marcus Fell to have their grad car crews go through in part Comox. So motion to receive and grant permission. I'll move that. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. All right, so that brings us in the agenda to reports from members of council. So we'll start with Councillor Price.
Yes, so I attended an ABICC executive meeting in Duncan at 9 o'clock in the morning. I thought that was, I should be back as president. We never did that in those days. And I attended the Regional District Sewage Commission, Water Committee, Sports Commission, and the Committee of the Whole. At the Sports Commission, we received the study on indoor master plan for indoor recreational facilities, and certainly interest in looking at a tennis and pickleball facility. Unfortunately, the study is based on indoor facilities, and so Director Grant and myself did bring up that we hope that there will be money left over to look at an outdoor facility for pickleball, which seems to be what people are looking for. Under the Water Committee, we looked at the dispute resolution policy that already exists on the books. As it currently stands, the voting structure, which is based on water usage, means that Courtney now has a majority of votes, so that if Courtney was in favour of something and none of the other four entities were, they could still pass it. Now it isn't a problem and could likely never be a problem, but it was good to look at that, and we did come up with an amendment that instead of going straight to arbitration, that there would be mediation too. So we looked at what that process was, and it's on the books. And we did have a report on the E. coli sample that led to the World Water Order. It could not be pinpointed what the cause was. It could be an animal getting into the system, inadequate chlorination, or simply sampling error. An animal getting in was ruled out, and the chlorination was shown to be working correctly. So it possibly was a sampling error. So there has been some changes in how sampling is done and standardizing of it, and just because you've got a slight chance of contaminating a sample before it's sent in. And also, because of where we were sending it, it was 48 hours before we'd hear, and so we are having it so that we'll receive notice in 24 hours.
Okay.
So some changes have come out of it. We also, with the Water Conservation Bylaw, Stage 1 starts May the 1st, and we were looking at Stage 2 starting July the 1st, regardless of whether there was a need. So that one's been put on hold, and so that certainly won't come in, that standardization won't come in this year. And the Sewage Commission, we had an overview of Stage number 2, and an update on HMS Quadra Pipeline, that they did hit rocks when they were directionally boring, so that's why it didn't get completed in the spring as planned. So because because it's getting busy down there, the work is shut down for the summer months. And and so we did that indoor facilities plan. In 10 years, over 50% of the population in Comox Valley will be over 55. And the over 55-year-olds find water activities very popular. And we also have a high expectation of service. So that is all part of the plan. Yes, I want it now. And
That's no surprise.
and tennis, as we know, is increasing in popularity, as is pickleball. And we looked at the fireworks regulations in our committee of the whole, because the rural areas of the Comox Valley can sell fireworks, and that just came up every year, the questioning of this.
Isn't that funny when one of the rural directors said, well, where are they getting the fireworks if they're setting them off in Comox? Well, hello! I'm in your area!
Good.
And we certainly have tried in the past to stop that, but it doesn't seem they want to do that.
And I also went to the strategic planning for the regional district yesterday. We did a day of strategic planning, and Director Swift was there. It actually was very good. I think there was sitting around in a more informal setting with heads of departments. I think we got a lot done. I thought it was very valuable, and it shows that we're all really on the same page. It's a very good way to bring people together. And I just came from the Aboriginal days at the Comox First Nations, and I was asked by Letty Speck to come forward and be a dignitary and say something.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for doing that. Okay, Councillor Swift.
Oh, okay. I attended the waste management meeting and the hospital meeting, and we got to have a tour of our hospital here, and that was really interesting. I'd still not like to spend time there, but if you do, it's going to be a great facility. I attended the SER meeting, the Philburg board meeting, and I attended the Philburg. There was some interest on the part of the Philburg volunteers to have CPR and AED training, so they've had 2 sessions this week, and they're interested in getting a machine there. And I went to the strategic planning session yesterday at Kingfisher, lovely facility, and they're exploring the idea of utilities commission. I attended the National Aboriginal Day today on the deck road. And lastly, I had a meeting with some members of the VIA and Councillor Grant, Mark Grant, and we're moving the initiative for community pianos ahead. We have 3 pianos, and 1 for the Philburg, 1 for down at Marina, and 1 for the town circle.
You know, I hardly have anything to say, and you're taking my thunder.
I'm sorry. So I've been working around.
You guys can do a duet.
So anyway, it looks like it's going to happen. Bill Taze is donating the piano for the town circle, and he's got an artist that he's commissioning to decorate it, and Susan Wood is trying to connect with and she has spoken with the rec center to get one of the kids programs to decorate the one for the marina. And Philburg are doing chalk paint on there.
So you can leave your own message.
Yes.
Which is kind of a neat idea.
That's great.
I think that's a great idea.
So they'll all have a bit of a different flair to them, which is kind of fun. And we'll see how it goes.
So I assume they'll be seasonal?
Yes. From wherever we get them out to maybe just after Labor Day. And I spoke to Al, and he seems to think he can find storage. We just need storage for 2 of them for the winter. And we don't expect that they will last a long time, maybe 1 or 2 years. But Joe Julian at the Philburg is interested in taking them all apart when they're done. So that'll be kind of fun.
Whatever tickles his ivories.
Yeah, there you go. All right, sorry, Councillor Arnott.
Wow.
You're next.
Well, okay.
I was going to say, so I'll go.
Liberace.
Yeah. I did attend the Highland School Mackling Bursary on behalf of Mayor Ives, and Livia Cosgrove was a recipient of $500 on that, which she was very excited, and she's been successful in getting other grant money. And it was interesting, there's a few people that kept coming up and up and up. And so for the young people in our community, it's very important that they apply for these grants. There's a lot of grants out there that people don't know about, but it's very important that they help on their continuing their education. I did attend a community justice meeting. Those are not the most exciting things, so there's not a whole lot to talk about. There, we have the dinners. This was a different style they tried this year, where you bought tickets, and it was okay. They did okay. They broke even, and they're continuing to try to find ways to move forward and make some money. With some of you, I attended the Shellfish dinner. Last night I had a business in action meeting, and a few of the things that I will tell council about is that the street banners that we talked last time, they should be delivered next week, the 24th of June, and the town will be helping with grant signs to get them up. And they're nice signs. They represent a little bit of what Comox has to offer, and they're colorful, and people like that. They advise that the Shellfish Seafood Weekend was very well received, sold out even on a rainy fall day that we had on Sunday. The Keys by the Sea initiative that Councillor Swift was talking about, it's a neat initiative, and I've seen YouTube videos where somebody who you wouldn't think could play the piano is playing amazing piano. And so the three spots they're looking at is down at the marina here, the Circle at the mall, and the Filbert. And I really like that idea. It's kind of a neat thing. And kudos to those who are donating the pianos. They're probably fortunate that they're getting rid of them because nobody else wants them. So.
You didn't have anything to say.
I know. The BIA is very proactive in what they're doing in the community, and I think they're doing a great job. They're looking at all sorts of things. The Twin Sails Building Activation Committee that some of you may be on, and just looking at options to keep things moving forward. So today and also our own Rocky Mountain Cafe has recently been awarded the restaurant in the hospital in Comox and in Comox Valley and in Campbell River. So that's pretty exciting for David Gann. Yeah, and a nice young fellow from Singapore. And today I did pop in quickly at First Nations, and that's always a very popular event, especially coming back today as I was at the Kingfisher celebrating their grand opening, which is an amazing facility they have there. But the traffic was quite packed on the dike. This weekend coming up through the BIA, there is going to be the Sailfest weekend, and that's a new event that is being started by Compass Adventures, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting. And I do have a question to our CAO. Does that going to impact any of the parking, any of the boat ramp? Are we going to be closing any of that? I've had that question. No, so it's not going to. Okay. All right. And that's all I have.
Councillor McKinnon, over to you.
Yes, those are tough reports to hold too, so try and be brief.
You don't have to.
On June 8th, I went to the school district retirement, and there were several Comox teachers who retired there. I have the list of those names. If anybody's interested, you can contact me and I could pass them on to you. Wish them well from the town of Comox. I went to the CBRD, both the open house for their new facility that they're presenting, and also for the operational plan, the master plan there. Both were well attended when I was there anyhow, and some good questions were asked, and we're moving forward with that, as many of you certainly CBRD know. I was at an open house art show at Simon Cycles, which I thought was very cool. It brought some vibrancy to the downtown after hours, and kudos to them for doing that idea. I had a homeless coalition meeting, and I'll touch on something that came out of that in a minute. And attended the Glacier View alternate program graduation today, and then the Aboriginal Day ceremony there, and also had a chance to say something on behalf of the mayor. And yes, at the last council meeting, Councillor Price had mentioned that a citizen had found a wayward or homeless person sleeping on outside their property, and wasn't sure who to contact. So brought that up at the Homeless Coalition meeting, and somebody from United Way at the next meeting brought back the cards, which are they're sort of helpful, but not totally helpful. So hopefully this might be helpful for the town there. BC211.ca online cards, which publish papers about facilities here in the Comox Valley. So initially that might not be the answer to help somebody who finds somebody sleeping outside their door. However, I do have the 3 phone numbers, local phone numbers of the Pidcock House, Amstis House, and Lily House, and I'm going to pass it on to Shelley, perhaps for consideration for our newsletter, or at least to be available at the front office for should anybody call and say, we have somebody here, who can we direct them to in our community. And that seems to have happened once, and hopefully it doesn't happen on a regular basis here, but times are changing. So if any councillor would like these 3 numbers as well, they can pass on to the citizen. I have them, and why don't I just send them to you via email if I can. And last, I'll just mention from Councillor Price that over 55 is going to be the majority here. Perhaps there's a business opportunity to reopen discos here in the home. That's the end of my report.
You've got some old clothes you want to bring? He's wearing them. Doesn't close it.
Hey, Raj, if I can add something that Councillor McKinnon, you talked about going to the school, but Councillor McKinnon was given an award. There's going to be a yearly award. The Hugh McKinnon, is it a humanitarian award or
Citizenship.
citizenship?
Somebody must
Kudos to you.
or something.
Yeah.
He's very humble, and he won't take the credit that he certainly deserves at all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Margaret.
Maybe I'm out, who knows? I like those last because I get to remember what I went to.
I'll try to be quick. Starting with the hospital tour going along, it was, as Councillor said, it was very impressive. So we don't want to get sick, but yes, we'll be well cared for. I also attended CSWM. At that particular meeting, probably the highlight was, as far as I was concerned, a request for information re the waste to energy technologies. That seems to be moving forward. It's going to be interesting to see what turns out. That hospital board, yes, I attended that. Another noteworthy discussion there was free versus paid parking at the new hospital sites, wasn't it? Yes, yes. Also, I went to the Keys by the Sea, and I have to add 2. For goodness sakes, our town thinks this is the greatest idea. They just love Keys by the Sea. So there we are, 3 cheers. Yes. I also had the pleasure of working with the seniors at their open house, and serving as an ambassador, which was a great experience. I also attended the two-day seafood expo put on by our seafood festival.
Yes.
And it was excellent. I came away just bursting. It was so impressive. So good. I attended the Dinner by the Sea, which had a different format this year, and I quite frankly enjoyed the change. It was good. Back to the seniors again, though, the reason that they had this open house was as a membership drive. And they were so successful, they ran out of membership cards. It was wonderful. There was John Marinas trying very hard to find all the cards, and et cetera. Can't you just imagine it? But from it all, they had 239 people attend. There were 35 new members as a result, and so now they have a grand total of 858 members. It was great and very enthusiastic, and people just like what's happening. It's good. Also, there was another smoke count, and the conclusion for this year was 2,434 coho smoked. The chum fry, unfortunately, are too small, so they get through the screens, and they were able to count them this year. And that's the end of my report.
Just a quick question on the parking for the hospital.
Yes.
What was the consideration? Was there a resolution of it any time passed?
Yes, there was a motion passed that all parking should be free at these facilities. There were 2 directors that opposed that. That would be Councillor Swift and myself.
Okay, and that was just more of a statement of support?
Yes, it was.
No financial?
No, that was simply a statement of support.
Right. And I suppose you guys were worried about the financial?
Exactly, that was the point.
Okay, good.
If I can just add to that particular discussion, apparently the Health Authority was going to be meeting with Mayor Jangula and the mayor from Campbell River probably this week to have a discussion regarding this. So we don't know what the outcome of this will be.
Yeah, because I know in the past we were asked to consider whether we would support a requisition to cover the cost of parking, and we said no.
Yes.
That's based on that, I understand why you voted against it. All right, thanks for that, Councillor Kendra.
My turn. Well, I attended the regional board meeting, and the water and sewer, I think Barbara did a pretty good job of updating those. And the sports commission also, with the master plan for the indoor facilities, one of the little bugbears that I always have when they do this is they take these out and they survey people and they have the open house and they ask them what they want. And of course, everybody wants the moon and the stars and the sun and everything. But they never attach a cost to anything that they do. And so, of course, a new ice rink's $80 million and this and that, and on it goes. So I asked them if they do this in the future, if they could at least attach an estimate or a real basic kind of costing so that, it would be sort of akin to going out and saying, do you want a Ferrari? Well, sure. Well, it's 180 grand. Well, they didn't want it that bad, right? So unless you have a basic idea of cost, then you're just kind of setting yourself up for the future. So, and I also reminded the board when we were doing that of the pile of money that we're spending on water, on sewer, on solid waste, on a new building. And so anything that comes out of this, I think has to be really considered as very long term in how we view it. So I also met with the owners of the mall. They had some possible tenants that they're dealing with, and they were concerned about timelines with the city or with the town, I should say, getting things through. It turned out that where their issue was more with liquor licensing rather than us. We were actually moving through in a pretty expedient way. So I got that straightened out. I also attended the Monday night seafood fest at the Native Sons. They had 60 international delegations there and about 30 international media there. And it's not very often I go to events in this community where I don't know anybody, but there was a lot of people out of town that I didn't know, and I talked to people from Kamloops and a couple of guys from Vancouver and people from all over the world that were there. And we really got a lot of notoriety in the valley, and a lot of good deals got signed over our seafood and things. So I think it was a real success. I also attended the Friday night gala dinner with Councillor Mark Grant and the Comox by the Sea event where we had over 2,000 through the gate this year, so that was a new record, and they actually had to shut the gate down because they got full. But one of the interesting things that was going on there is you could just buy a craft beer there and walk around within the crowd. And what a nice way of doing things that was. I got to say that if there's some way that we can figure out how to do more of that, that just, it just makes it a really nice event and includes the families and everything. And I just thought it was a really good way to do things. So hopefully we can do more of that. And I think with that, that's about it for me. Oh, Kingfisher. Just got back from the Kingfisher. That's why we were a little bit late. They had their grand opening of their new restaurants over there. And it's lovely, and what an asset for the valley that is. And going to get better as he's got great plans for the future there. So, as long as he can get by those awful Area C directors. Is it A? Sorry. Yeah. Well, the C guy's not very good. Yeah, you're right.
I'll tell you.
Oh, you already know.
All right, well, it's obviously been a very busy month for everyone. June is always crazy busy. For me, it included participating in 2 more cadet parades, both the Air Cadets and the Sea Cadets. Saw them demonstrate their abilities over the last couple Saturdays, and again, they do a great job, and it was neat to see where they've all gotten to, where they're going in the summer ahead for their various programs. Shellfish Festival certainly occupied a lot of our time collectively over the last maybe 10, 11 days. All the events that have been referenced. I think the keynote speakers in particular I enjoyed. I don't know if you saw that speak.
Yes.
Terry O'Reilly talking about changing the conversation around farm salmon versus wild, and also Chef Ned Bell, who's now with Oceanwise. It's interesting to follow them on Twitter and social media to see what they're up to. Ned's actually traveling across the north of Canada right now on a Taste of the North tour, and it's amazing what things he's involved with doing that. So really good talks and good conversation pieces. Of course, meeting lots of people at all the different events. The event up in Coastal Black for the Fresh Fest was amazing. Food was excellent. All the conversation was really good, and everyone was extolling the virtues and attributes of the Comox Valley. Participated in an interview with Shaw Cable, as I mentioned, down at the waterfront. Focus on the new buildings, of course, we built down there, but we also brought in Sue Wood from the BIA and Stu Tunheim from Rotary. Talked a bit about the Splash Park playground, and there will be a bit of a community fundraiser started as of, I think, July 1st. Stu Tunheim, or his delegate, will speak to us hopefully on the 5th of July. What they're doing is going to raise hopefully some funds to add some more bells and whistles to the park. And that will tie in with some of the other donations that have been made by, for example, young professionals and other Rotary clubs. So that'll promote it. It's called Make a Splash, and we'll hear more about that very soon. Participated in the BC Ferries Media Charity Golf Tournament down at Bear Mountain. Somebody had to do it, so I did it. That was unfortunately the same day as the Shellfish Gala, so it was a long day. But that was in aid of the United Way, so that was great to go and participate in that. I was in a foursome just behind Mayor Stu from Langford, Stu Young.
Yeah.
So it was fun to listen to him golf and do his usual conversation. Also had the opportunity to participate in an event following upon the Shellfish Festival on the Monday after Comox by Sea event. I've been asked to host a meeting of shellfish producers and others in the industry with our current Premier, Christy Clark. She came here on Monday morning, and we had a great meeting in one of our new buildings. 15 people came and talked to her about some challenges and opportunities within the shellfish seafood industry. We also had David Gann there, who was a nice tie into the hospital and some of the things that are going on with his business. And Bill Coulthard was there as well. So that was nice to involve a good cross-section of people from all across the shellfish industry. And I think the Premier came away with a much better understanding of some of the things that are going on. And of course, we're on the radar now as far as Shellfish Festival goes. And then she went on, I think, to Berwick and toured there, and also to the new hospital. So tomorrow we'll see whether any of that makes its way into the throne speech. But I did invite her to come back for the grand opening ceremony of the water park. So we'll see what happens. The Airport Commission had its nominee entities meeting yesterday, so I did attend that. And the grand opening of the Kingfisher today. And I think that's all I really have to say. Oh, sorry, Point Homes. I was out there for their anniversary open house and participated in some of their draws that they had on that windy Saturday. The barbecue, and great organization out there. And we really benefit at the town from having those guys take care of that space for us. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you had something to add to that, I kind of have something to add a little bit different.
Go ahead, Ken.
Okay, yeah, so one thing I did forget is I met with the Regional District Parks, with our parks guy and Rod Nickel regarding Lazo Road and bringing that pathway down and then having the RD actually join us in that so that we can bring it even farther down and get it a little bit closer to the walkway that we built out on the ocean. So that seemed to be received very well, and they were totally on it, and it doesn't seem like there should be any big problems. While we were there, a lady noticed all the government trucks there, so she came over and asked if she could interrupt, and she asked, there's a little piece just as you get to that, when you're coming down Lazo by the campground. The trail starts, then it goes into parking lot, and then it goes up, and she goes, there's really a lack of parking. Do you think there's something we could do to take that one little piece out and turn it into a little bit more parking? So it actually seemed like a pretty good idea, to be honest with you, so I throw that out as an option. But good news that the RD will be involved as we go down that strip, and we can make that even a little bit longer and a little bit better. So
That is good.
Yeah, I did forget to mention under new business, well, earlier about Councillor Grant and Swift and I talking about the parade. And just to fill you in, what we've come up with is our intent, and please chime in if you feel that I'm not correct, but we are thinking of having the mayor kind of on his own, and having councillors with a banner, and we would have Comox Council, just to identify who we are, and we're looking at wristbands to toss out to the kids, and it would have the town of Comox on there, and I believe they would be glow in the dark, and it'd be kind of fun for the kids as the night progresses, and also we were looking at a windbreaker, an updated type of shirt that we have. So we could be looking at anywhere, I think, between $1,500 and $2,000 in expenses for these things. And I think $1,500 would be more along the lines, because you're looking at $1,000 for the wristbands, and we're probably looking at $500 for the jackets. So that's something that the CAO and I can discuss.
Sure.
And
Maybe you can bring that forward to the July 5th council.
yeah, exactly.
We do have a budget for the
Yeah.
council promotion.
Yeah, we would like to have had a float and something a little more exciting, but you know, we're all busy, and trying to align that was tough. And I think the gist of it was for next year, I believe we have a significant anniversary for the town of Comox. Is it 60 years next year?
We did that one.
No, 65. It's a
75?
75. Yeah.
It's something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Older than us.
We're going to have the Calico Three
And
Rivers.
so to have that more next year, and so for this year. So we've opted not to get you the costume that we were thinking of.
I've been working on it too.
Yeah.
Next year. You've got
Yeah.
a whole year to
But yeah.
Well, the CEO doesn't need a new jacket because he won one in the golf tournament that we were in together at the St. Joe's, and he got the KP on 12. I don't know what color it is, if it's Comox colors or not.
Bright pink.
There you go.
new colors.
The jacket fits.
It's okay. That's all you know.
All right.
Thank you for
Just end with a positive water park inquiry story, is that with our January weather, I was down walking, and a number of people asked some questions about the water park and the weather that we were having. And later that day, I was going to a function in Courtenay, and on Saturday this past week, you remember the weather wasn't particularly good, some of you read it, the water park in Courtenay was packed with kids. I couldn't believe it. It was packed. So kids, it's summer locked in their brains come this time of year. And they had towels and everything.
Okay, cool.
So it'll be used.
Oh,
All right.
yay.
Good stuff. All right, so no other reports, media questions at this time, public questions? Yes, sir.
Article in the paper that I was going to add a few days ago, headlined the Gang of Five, referring to councillors and staff from, particularly highlighting photos of Courtney, interesting, and then I read that, and my first reaction was it reminded me a bit of American-style attack ads, and I thought, what's this? So part of it referred to our town as well as Cumberland having people go as well to, I guess, to Ottawa.
Yes.
So, and basically saying that, you know, it's a colossal waste of money. And I can't believe that decisions like that are made without a basis of, this is the reason we're going to do these things. So I'm just curious, what is it from perspective of Comox? And we had some staff that went as well, I guess, or?
Our CAO usually attends as part of FCM, and also what's called the Canadian Association of Management Administrators, or Municipal Administrators, so CAMA conference, and it's held usually in June, end of May, beginning of June. And in the past, we've basically had about 2 or 3 members of council. Usually the mayor goes, CAO goes to his conference, and sometimes tags along with part of ours. We have also the Union of BC Municipalities, which is in the fall, usually either in Vancouver or another location in the province. We usually get, again, about half the council that goes to that. And then we have the Association of Vancouver Island Coastal Communities Conference, which is held usually in April. And more councillors will go to that just because it's closer at hand and it's on a weekend. Sometimes people have a hard time attending either weekends or during the week. UBCM, for example, is during the week. Each of those conferences has a different level of I guess, engagement. At the local level, the UBICC, Councillor Price, of course, has recently been the president of that, and that's there's resolutions passed, there's study tours, there's workshops, there's meetings to learn about different things, for example, around marijuana, legalization, those kinds of issues. At the UBCM, there's all of that, plus a higher level of discussion, usually meetings with cabinet ministers and provincial staff. For example, at UBCM, we have done things around providing an ambulance located here in Comox. That was done through UBCM. And of course started with Mayor Brass years ago. We also have funding applications in with UBCM or provincial governments that we pursue. We had boundary extension discussions, and on it goes, more of a business approach there. The FCM, I think probably the biggest value of that is, again, study tours, workshops. We all do report out on those things. And I think everyone who goes gets some value out of it. And of course, the networking with other members, local governments from across Canada, and of course, you hear from the national level leaders. Because UBCM and in particular FCM provide a bit of a lobby group. And the most recent success for FCM in particular has been the federal government's commitment to municipal infrastructure. And that is something that collectively we all support. And I know we've taken resolutions from this council to all levels of conference. We had one go from the UBICC, the UBCM, to the FCM. That, for example, was on the gas tax, and I think it was discussed around this table around broadening the categories of eligibility for projects. In the past, gas tax could only be used for very limited things. Now it's much broadened. I know Councillor Kengrand was quite vocal about that at the time. So we took that through from council to UBICC, got support there, took it to UBCM, got support there, and it actually made it to the FCM and got passed. And again, the result of that has been a legislative change. So those are all just sort of different comments on it, and the level of expenditure on that does vary depending where it is. If it's in Ottawa, then it's a bit more expensive, say, than it's in Saskatoon. But I think by and large we found it to be valuable, not only in securing grant funding and other commitments, but also just to train us all as leaders in local government. I think that's the real value. Personally, I've learned a lot over the last 10, 15 years of that. There will be those in the community that will say, oh, you're just going on a junket, you're wasting taxpayers' money. It was interesting to note this year that Cumberland went to the FCM the first time, and their whole council and mayor went. For a small community like that, it was a big expenditure, but they have been successful in getting grants and other things over the last little while. So if you're not there, you might miss out, both personally and then corporately for the organization. So I believe, and it's interesting you mentioned that ad, because they highlighted the people who went, except they forgot Councillor Theos, who was also there. And I guess he's not in the Gang of Five, whatever that means. It is unfortunate, but I know in the past we've had this discussion, and we do have a budget for this amount of conferences. And that being said, there are other opportunities that councillors will take, and certainly staff will take, to do other kinds of more specific conferences. I know that all of you have gone to different things like the Local Government Leadership Academy, sustainability conferences, and the like. So we don't get paid a whole lot, but we're asked to know a lot. And I think that's an opportunity for us to go and get educated, get networked, and ultimately bring back not just a business card, but some actual real opportunities to have things come back to our community. And if you look, water park, $250,000 from the federal government. The buildings down there, $550,000 from the federal government. So there's impact, and our MLAs, MPs are our partners in that. But I think if you don't go, then you'll potentially miss out. So that's my sense of it, and I kind of blabbered on a bit, but that's...
Well, I would add that the change to the gas tax dollars and allowing us to spend it on broader things is helpful in hundreds of millions of dollars across our province, and that's one thing that our little table here did, to broaden that and allow us to use it for what we need it for rather than what is dictated to us. So, that change alone has paid our way to those things in spades, I believe. So.
One of the big things that I took away from this was I went to a study tour, and it was about meals in schools, and how kids are going to school with very little in their stomach. And so we went to 2 schools. One, they were breeding their own fish. They were using the waste from the fish to fertilize a hydroponic type of food, like whether it be lettuce or whatnot. They have a cafeteria, they turn that in, they feed their kids. And it's a basic program, but it keeps all these kids fed. We went to another one, and we talked about inter-school type of programs where the kids are hungry, and how we can help them. And you think, well, that's a big city problem, but here in Comox Valley, it's a similar problem. And I think the takeaway that I have is that we need to be open to that, and this is not a white-collar community by any means, and there's kids out there who really would benefit from our going to these things and seeing how other people do it. The other thing, too, with this particular format was talking about like urban farms and that. And I think we're in a great community here. We have farms, we have the ocean here, and this, to me, tied in perfectly to what the Comox Valley has. So I took away a few good things that I think would benefit us in the community.
Yeah, and if you look at the grand scheme of it, our statement of financial information, which was released recently, showed the expenses that councillors and mayor had claimed for various events and activities, not all to do with conferences, but a grand total of $27,000. And it ranges from $2,000 to $3,000 for councillors and up to $9,000 for the mayor, because it goes to other things. But those are good investments, as Councillor Grant had said. And of course, you're speaking to someone who might be considered biased towards that, but I've never ascribed to the view that we're just going there to enjoy a glass of wine occasionally on the taxpayer's expense. It's a lot of work. You show up on a Thursday night, you're go till the Monday or Tuesday morning when you come back. So certainly good experiences all around. So those that go hopefully benefit from it, and those that can't will hopefully go to the next one and how it goes.
Just one last comment is that for the interest of this gentleman is that I recall in a previous council we discussed it. I might have brought it up about rotating people going to council, and the same discussion occurred, and the council decided at that point that it was valuable and there was opportunities for the town for everyone to go, so it was left as is. However, in practice, since I've been on council anyway, it's pretty much been rotational. Not all councillors have gone, and I think from those councillors that have gone, and mayor and staff, that they come back with ideas, and if more importantly with funding opportunities and for grants. So I think council in Comox has acted pretty responsibly, and some fiscally prudent. Some of us have Scottish roots and are more frugal than others. But no, it's worked out well, and I'm supportive of council because I think they have good reasons.
And without belaboring it too much more, Mayor Brass, when he was on council, said, this is something we should consider going to. And he went to one, I think it was in Winnipeg, the first time I was on council. And when he did that one is he gathered together mayors from communities that had air bases. And the issue at the time was we weren't getting enough payment in lieu of tax. So he collaborated with those mayors over the course of the next 5 or 6 years, ultimately achieved a result through the arbitration process, dispute resolution. I remember going to an FCM in Whistler where we all got together again. By that point, all those communities had virtually solved their problems. So that was just one little issue. CA and I met with BC Hydro on many BCMs, and especially when we were doing Guthrie Road. We collaborated with them, coordinating it so that we weren't digging up the road one year and they were digging up the next. So little things like that, I think, have go a long way. So there's your answer in spades, I suppose.
Is it possible to get some of this, and you've probably already done this, and maybe you do this all the time, but into the media? Because I found that ad, frankly, offensive, because to me it was almost like a smear. And at the bottom it said, ask your counselors what do they do, and that's one reason I know you guys think about this and plan this. And what you just elaborated on is tons of important stuff that comes out of this.
Well, we try to report out at these meetings. Many years ago when I was a counselor, I once wrote a report and published it in the paper, had it published in the paper. I think Nora Ahmed had done the same for the city of Courtenay. And the grief I took about that and the shots I took about that, about, you're just wasting money and so on, was like, you know what, I'm not doing that one again. I'd rather report out here, and if the media picks it up, great. Certainly I'll talk to anyone who wants to, but putting your head above the foxhole sometimes and getting shot at isn't always fun. So that's the nature of the local media sometimes. Of course, radio, they're fine, but they don't have things like beefs and bouquets and letters to the editor, right? So I take your point. We do need to promote it a bit. We have an ADICC president here, so she's very proud of that organization, as we all are. So, we've all done our best to promote what we're doing there, and we'll just keep doing it where we can.
And we do all report out after.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the deal. But also, those ads are being put in by private citizens, and they're
And there's a bigger issue behind that.
well, yeah, but they can put ads if they choose to. It's up to them.
I think they're more concerned about perhaps some of the budget issues in Courtenay than anything else. But hopefully we're being as frugal as we can be. We don't all go camping in our Volkswagen van like Councillor McKinnon does, but we do all try to make wise investments.
We are known as cheap. I do explain to
Well, maybe that's
the very first time I became involved, it hasn't changed. Or fiscally responsible.
Sure.
Well, that shows that in 2018 we're going to be basically debt-free thanks to our Director of Finance and our staff for steering us in that direction. I mean, I think that's an enviable position to be in. We're a very healthy community.
Very many communities that correct that.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for that. I know we all kind of went on a bit, but appreciate
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
the
you for telling
opportunity.
me. That's great.
I'm sure one media member here's got it all.
We're in the Ferraris.
Because a Tesla, it's okay. All right, so with that,
Motion to adjourn.
no questions further. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?